This is our Q3 Process Manager update. I want to talk you through the following scenarios. What did we do in Q3 of our financial year? So I will look into the enhancement of Process Manager, the core functionality, so what really happening there. Then look into Process Manager risk and compliance. We have a little tweak there, what I would like to highlight and what we could use for this. And then third, and I think the biggest enhancements over the last 3 months is on our Process Manager model area. Okay, let's have a look. I'll jump into product and then we can have a look into this capability, what we have added. Let's go with core first. So if you are looking into search, obviously all of you know, if you are looking into something like define, typing this word in there, it comes up. If you are going define and pressing enter, then we're getting the more detailed search. And have a look on the right-hand side. We added there additional functionality, which is awesome because we can now focus on not only what the search returns, but as well focusing on what we want to see. So if we are actually on the hunt for a process, we can just filter this out and focus purely on the processes where we have the search definition in there. Or we want just to look into the procedures because let's face it, sometimes we are looking into specific search words for procedure. This can become quite handy when we are hunting down certain terminology where we could rely on manual interference, for example, emailing or printing. These sort of things could be as well a hint for opportunities for improvement going through the automation. But then we can going further on matching sections. So where we want to have this matching in the title, and obviously there's none. If I change this and go into define, then we could potentially have a scenario here when we are going process and we want to have this on a matching title, clearly then I get this scenario in here. So we get a much more detailed search. Well done, project team, product team. This was a real great release for the search scenario in here. What else did we change in the core? We added more capability in the mini mode security. So when we are looking now as an administrator, ProMaster for Process Manager, you have now an additional configuration setting. So if you're going to admin configure, in the area of mini mode linked, we have now an additional setting. Require user authentication for access to mini mode links. So if you allow the share of mini mode links in general, now you have actually a capability to say here, are these authenticated users only? So this means there need to be a defined user on the Process Manager, and this would be a global setting. Then it could be as well anonymous users, unless restricted groups. This is a setting which we had for a while. So when you put viewing permissions on a process group in play and share a mini mode link of a process referring to a protected group, the user or the person who receives this internally, externally, needs to have a lock-in into the Process Manager. And then we can open this up for everyone, internal and external. So a great functionality when you are very thinking through security, privacy scenarios. You have a further choice to set up Process Manager in the needs of your organization. If you are looking then into one little enhancement which we did in the risk and compliance model. Risk and compliance model is around for years and years and years. What we did there, it's a really specific scenario inside our risk register or when we are setting up actually a new risk in there. As you can see, my system is set up quite fundamentally where we compare a likelihood consequence and the control effectiveness. But the enhancements which we added has nothing to do with an configuration in there. We added actually an additional field in here, other information. This other information field could be a reference number to a different, maybe a global enterprise risk management tool where you want to cross-reference to, or cross-reference from there into here, or want to have a certain section on a compliance requirement where it's referring to an update from the Food Safety Act or from the ISO or from a CPS 230 scenario. So this could be super helpful when this information comes in, because this as well, as soon as you manage information in there, can be exported, reported on your CSV export. So it gives you a real great capability to add additional information into your risk and compliance functionality as well. Okay, now let's focus on our number 3, on our model scenario. So what have we enhanced there? So if I go into the area of process model and have a look here on my demo site scenario. So one thing what we have added here is, for example, when I open up my process, make a nice coffee, keep it very simple. So in here we have now scenarios: boil water, get coffee, get mark. So I could have here now an additional functionality. What we see already occurring here, I can now leave notes onto the elements of the model. So I can click on the activities. I can click on the start event. So anywhere where I can click, I can leave now a note against this. Say ensure only to use only high-end coffee, something like this. So these notes helping definitely if you are in the journey of creating requirements. If you want to clarify certain scenarios in here, this is clearly possible as well. So if I add, for example, an additional element here, which I can do clearly from the notes, or I can add this in here and say, I want to move this to a different scenario, and instead of linking this here, I want to link this to my scenario in this activity. I want to have this connected here. Now my OCD kicks in, so we can do this. And as you can see, another enhancement here. In the past, this activity was blank and had an red circle around it because it needed to be aligned to BPM N 2.0. Now we have one scenario in here which came on a lot of requests from existing customers. Can we pre-fill this? So this is clearly a task. I can override this, maybe make tea. So if I want to do this here, I can clearly make this happen. We have another really great enhancements here. Now I can actually make this to an call action. So I can link this now to a call activity, and can link this now to another process element. So what this means, if I already have a make a nice tea process in play, I can click on here and I can select the process where it's linked to. In my case, I will not have a process model in play where I could link this to, but it's a great functionality to actually have this here. Maybe I'll make a nice hot drink, select this and link this to the make a nice hot drink scenario to show you the capability how this could look like. So if I close this now and I save it for a moment and I close this as an editor perspective, I want to save this. I don't need to save this with comments. So if I go out as an editor and see now that this process exists, by the way, this process is clearly visible now as well, as you potentially already know. If I go into my project lifecycle, and within here under the process group project lifecycle, we have our models. There is my make a nice coffee process. So if I open this up with my call action in here to another process and I click on it, it brings me, actually gives me the capability to call the other process, which is make a nice hot drink, which sits in my sales area. So in this area, we have now a nice starting point to connect scenarios within each other. Hopefully you find this helpful. Quick and short, what we did over the last 3 months, what we added to it. We obviously did a lot of more things on little bug fixes, on enhancement of speed, of modernization of the platform. Keep tuned and see what comes up over the next 3 months. I'm looking forward. Thank you so much. My name is Thomas Kohlenbach, Senior Product Specialist for Nintex. I'm looking forward to see you soon, and thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.